The farthest humans have ever traveled from Earth is not Mars. It is not Jupiter. It is not even another planet. It is just past the Moon. The record was set in 1970 by the Apollo 13 crew. 248,655 miles from Earth. That sounds enormous until you look at what that number actually means. NASA says the Moon is, on average, 238,855 miles away from Earth. So, the farthest any human being has ever gone is only about 9,800 miles beyond the Moon's average distance. That is the outer edge of human distance, not the edge of the solar system, not the beginning of interstellar travel, just barely past the Moon. And that is what makes this story hit so hard. Because when people think about human spaceflight, their brain blends everything together. Moon landings, space stations, Mars plans, giant rockets. It all creates the feeling that we have already spread far into space. We have not. We have barely left home. The International Space Station orbits only about 240 miles above Earth. The Moon is about 1,000 times farther away than that. And Apollo 13, a mission most people remember as a survival disaster, still holds the human distance record more than 50 years later. Think about how insane that is. All of modern humanity, all of our computers, all of our rocket engines, all of our talk about becoming a multi-planet species, and the farthest any person has ever been from Earth is still basically the Moon. At that range, Earth stops feeling like a place and starts feeling like an object. Help is not coming quickly. Resupply is not coming at all. A small problem does not stay small for long. Apollo 13 proved that in the worst possible way. The mission that pushed humans the farthest from Earth is also one of the clearest reminders of how fragile we still are out there. Now compare that with Mars. NASA says Mars is, on average, about 140 million miles from Earth. And a crewed mission there would keep astronauts away from Earth for roughly 3 years. That means Mars is not a little farther than the Apollo 13 record. It is more than 500 times farther. So the gap between the farthest humans have ever gone and the first real step into deep space is not small. It is monstrous. Everything we have ever done with human bodies in space has happened inside a tiny shell around Earth, compared with what comes next. Every orbit, every moonwalk, every capsule, every flag, every famous mission, all of it happened shockingly close to home on the true scale of space. That is why this is not just an Apollo fact. It is a reality check. Because people love saying humans have conquered space. We have not conquered space. We crossed a narrow gap to the Moon, barely pushed beyond it once, and then stopped there. That does not make the achievement small. It makes the universe bigger. So if you ask how far humans have really traveled, the answer is both impressive and almost disappointing. Far enough to leave Earth. Far enough to orbit it. Far enough to walk on another world. Far enough to reach the Moon and barely go beyond it, but not far enough to reach Mars, not remotely far enough to reach the outer planets, and nowhere close to another star. The farthest humans have ever gotten from Earth is shockingly small. And maybe that is the most honest way to understand our place in the universe right now. Not masters of deep space, just a species that has finally stepped off its own planet and realized how much farther there is still to go.